John, how are you, sir? Good, good to see you.
How you doing? Good. Welcome to Rotary, everybody. We got a full house. Everybody wants to hear about this great program. So with that, we're going to have Brett at the piano and Reg lead us in song.
We're going to do God Bless America today. Ready? God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Awesome. Thank you. Will you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For our invocation, I'd like to call up Larry Clark.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon. Mindful that this is our first Rotary Club meeting of the spring, I offer this prayer. Lord of the universe, as the season changes and the world grows green, we thank you for the blessings of spring. May the warmth of this season remind us of the warmth of our fellowship. Give us the energy to grow our service and our strength to turn our ideas into reality for a better community. Amen.
You may be seated. And I'll call up Jared Horton to introduce our guests. If you have a guest here, please make your way to the microphone to introduce them. And I should point out, last Tuesday, of course, was St. Patrick's Day, and we celebrated that. We also celebrated with a bunch of jokes about Chuck Norris, and as you know, he passed away at 86. But I have it on good authority that he does plan to speak at his eulogy. So. Here's Jared. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Gail, you want to introduce two guests today?
I would be happy to. I have with me Sharon Jackson, Louisiana Research Tech Institute, and Sam Lang, Lu Ang Phone. I've worked on it. And Sam has applied to be a new member, so we hope she'll be joining us full-time soon. She's with First Horizons Bank.
I should point out, since she is applied under the STAR team, her membership's going to be deferred until July.
After the contest. Kathy?
Kathy French, and my guest today is John Barr, who is with Senator John Kennedy's office. He represents Northwest Louisiana.
All right. You have a guest?
I have 4 guests.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
The bridge is very well represented here today. We have staff members as well as board members, so I'm going to start with our executive director, Tony Gooden. Raise your hand, Tony. Also on our board is Dr. Jeff Overdyke. From our staff, Alicia Henderson. And Tony Thompson is also a staff member.
Good deal. And on Zoom, well, let me find the right page. We have Guard Waite, Tori Thomas, Gene Richardson, Brian Patchett, and Jennifer Elliott.
All right.
Good deal. That's it.
All right, everybody welcome. And Lawrence, if you come up, he's got some foundation announcements and Paul Harris Fellow recognition. Come on up. Well, it's good to see you. Long time.
Good to see you, good to see you, been a while. Before I do have two Paul Harrises to give out, but before I do, I want to announce that we are going to do another matching program. So if you want to get points for your team, it's you get 1 point per dollar donated, and the matching will be similar to what we did in the late fall in November and December, $100 minimum, $500 maximum. And during that time in November and December, we raised right at $4,000. So I'd love to do that again, put 4,000 points on the board for one team or another. So again, it's starting now till May the 31st, or till June, till the end of the contest. So you got 3 months to get that in. So please consider doing that. And I do have a Paul Harris for Mike Farrell. You want to hobble on up here? Mike joined in August of 2012. He was sponsored by the late Bob Ham. He was a director in 2017-18, and he will be receiving his Paul Harris +1. Thank you, Mike. All right, thank you, sir. And also Deborah Williams, if you could come up. Deborah joined the club in January of 17, was sponsored by Andy Fisher. She was a director in 2022 to 2023, and she does Rotary Direct. She does it quarterly, and she also took advantage of the matching program back at the end of the year. So when you put those two together, she's jumping from Paul Harris +2 to +3, and also +4. So she's getting all of her bonuses at one time. And we have one more to do, but I'd like Francesca to come up and take care of that one.
It got a lot better looking up here.
He's fishing.
But
There's still time.
But it's about to turn down in just a second.
So this is a little tall for me. Today is very special for at least two important reasons. One is it's our fellow member Davor Polyak's birthday. Happy birthday, Davor. Yes. 39 again. Looks good on you. I've been there a few times myself. So looking good. Very good, yes. And the second reason is that Davor has finally reached his major donor status with Rotary Foundation. Now, it's customary for people to receive gifts on one's birthday, but Davor doesn't operate that way. So, in the interest of saying thank you for gifts, thank you for your personal giving to Rotary, for supporting the many programs, service projects that really help improve the quality of life for people. And may the return on investment be that many people have that better quality of life, but also for you, knowing that you've made a difference. So thank you for that. Davor, yes, congratulations. Just a little bit about his background that you may not know. So Davor shares his family passion for his country and giving back to his community. And over the years, he has been a great supporter of many needs and causes in our community, including his beloved alma mater, Centenary College, where he was inducted to the Alumni and Athletic Halls of Fame. His prolific giving was spurred by his past experiences growing up in his former native homeland of Bosnia-Herzegovina. He's a family man, former professional tennis player, and also a military veteran. Davor has built his life and career helping others in our community and helping them to realize their own lives, goals, and dreams. So thank you, Davor, for your personal giving and reaching this major milestone as major donor. I think it's a great way to celebrate your birthday. Congratulations. Congratulations, and happy birthday. Won't you come on up? So as a major donor, just as a reminder, DeVore receives a gorgeous pin with 3 rubies atop. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
You're right.
Got it? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Thank you, thank you. Just as a quick reminder, and I'm going to remind everybody of this towards the end of the meeting as well, but you have some pamphlets on your tables. Ronald McDonald House has scheduled a special open house for Rotary members. It's April 8th at 1:30. So please look at that, put it on your calendar. It'd be great to go through and see what they've done over there. And as another reminder, this Thursday from 1:30 to 3, we are packing boxes at the food bank, Northwest Louisiana. So please join us if you have time. Again, no, it's the middle of the day, but a lot of y'all participate, and it's a great benefit to the food bank that we're there and packing those boxes. With that, I'd like to bring our member Robert Smith up in his shiny blue coat to introduce the program.
Well, this is a great day for us because we get to learn about things that are going to make our lives better. Isn't that every day? It gives me great pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Laura Gaucher. She is the Assistant Executive Director of the Bridge Alzheimer's and Dementia Resource Center. She's also Administrator of the Bridge Adult Day Center, the topic of today's presentation. Laura's vision and dedication are responsible for the extraordinary growth in the number and scope of programs that the Bridge has offered since she joined our organization in June of 2022. This year, the Bridge will serve over 12,000 people in Northwest Louisiana affected by Alzheimer's and other dementias. Laura is a licensed professional counselor and a certified dementia practitioner. She holds a Master's of Arts in Clinical Mental Health from Louisiana Tech University, and will soon complete another master's degree in nonprofit management. Laura started out in the professional world in Bossier Parish Schools as a mental health counselor for military students. While working within the parish school system, she transitioned to an elementary school counselor. Motivated by the personal experience of her grandfather's journey with dementia, she joined the Bridge to pursue her passion for working with families affected with Alzheimer's. In furthering her passion of helping older adults, Laura currently serves as president of the Board of Directors, Bossier Council on Aging. She was honored to be a member of the 2025 Shreveport 40 Under 40 list and has been a member of our Rotary Club for nearly a year. Her husband, Chad Gaucher, is a sergeant with the Bossier Parish Sheriff's Office Training Academy. They have a beautiful daughter, Evelyn, who is 5, and they reside in North Bossier. Please join me in giving Laura a warm welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Let's see. Technology and I don't always get along, so bear with me. Let's see. All right, so our topic of today is respite and what it is and what you need to know about it. Does anyone know what respite is by a show of hands? Okay, good. Then everybody's going to learn something today. There it is. So the Oxford Dictionary for respite is a short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. Basically, a break from something bad, from something hard, something difficult. And being a caregiver in a journey is probably one of the hardest jobs someone will ever do, because it is 24/7, 365. There are no breaks, no timeouts, no nothing, because they are always going, always expecting something, always waiting for the next shoe to drop. So has anyone ever been a caregiver in this room? Okay. It's a hard job. You're overwhelmed, you're exhausted, you're overstimulated, and you don't know what's going to change. You don't know what the next day, the next hour, the next minute is going to hold. And that's extremely stressful for a caregiver because their body takes on so much stress and things that their body doesn't know how to understand it. So being a caregiver and having different types of caregivers, there are many out there. But what I'm going to focus on today is Alzheimer's and dementia. Obviously, that is my topic, that is my passion. I've worked with Alzheimer's and dementia clients and families for off and on for over 10 years. That's a very colorful map of Louisiana. What that says is that those are the different percentages of Louisiana and their Alzheimer's in each parish. The national average is 11%. Louisiana's average, 12.4. And Caddo's is 14.1. Bossier's is 10.1. So in and of itself, Louisiana is higher than the national average for Alzheimer's. And that's kind of astronomical. We don't know the entire entity and entire aspect of why that number is the way it is because they're still trying to figure out what causes Alzheimer's. You know, they know more about deep space and the abyss than they do about the human brain. So they are constantly doing research and education of trying to figure out why Alzheimer's is so rampant. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's an epidemic. And there is no cure for it. There is no cure currently for Alzheimer's or the other types of dementias out there. So this, unfortunately, is a death sentence. And these caregivers and these people with dementia are struggling to understand because they don't know what's going on. They don't understand how this could be happening to their person, how this could be happening to them as a caregiver. You know, most people retire and travel and go see grandkids, but more than likely not, the person that gets diagnosed typically gets diagnosed 2 to 3 years after they have retired. And so then their total scheme of their life is now changed. So to give you a little bit more background on Alzheimer's and dementia and some caregiver statistics, 1 in 9 Americans over the age of 65 is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. That equates to about 6 to 7 million Americans in the United States alone. And these figures are from 2024, so those numbers have definitely changed. There are currently over 12 different types of dementia out there. Now, most people think Alzheimer's and dementia are the same. They're very synonymous. And to a degree, they are, but dementia is considered an umbrella term. So you have dementia here, and then you have the different types of dementia underneath that. Alzheimer's being the most diagnosed. 60 to 70% of all of the cases are diagnosed as Alzheimer's. You also have Lewy body dementia, vascular dementia, frontotemporal dementia, normal pressure hydrocephalus. There is alcohol-induced dementia, mixed dementia, so it's not bad enough you get one, you get two. There are over 12 different types of dementia out there. And there is no cure currently for any of those. And the prognosis for each of those is all different. Average for Alzheimer's anywhere from 12 to 15 years. Lewy body dementia is about 5 to 7. Now, that is the average. That does not mean that everybody is going to go down that path because, again, everybody is different. Everybody has different DNA. We are all unique. So even though one person or two siblings can be diagnosed with Alzheimer's, they will have different paths with that diagnosis because they're different people. Even though they have similar DNA because they're siblings, they will still have different paths. That is what's so frustrating and debilitating about this disease is because there is currently no cure because they truly don't understand what's going on. So LSU Center for Brain Health did a study back in, I think, 2021, and they said in that 75-mile radius of LSU Med School, there's over 85,000 people affected by Alzheimer's and dementia. 85,000, and that was back in 21, so that's not super current. Because for every one person that is diagnosed, you have a minimum of 3 people that are affected. And let's be honest, 3 people, that's kind of minimum. If you have a dad that is diagnosed, you then have the spouse, the kids' spouses, the grandkids. You could have anywhere from 6 to 10 people that are affected just from that one diagnosis. And it affects all of them, some more than others, but it truly affects all of them in their journey throughout this process, because now that person is changing. Their relationship with that person is changing, and they're struggling to understand that. So I say all of this to talk about respite, because caregivers are in dire need of respite, but sometimes they don't know what it is, how to access it, and where to go to find it. So there's actually 2 different types of respite out there. There's reactive, and then there's proactive. Reactive is when a caregiver says, hey, can you come over and hang out and be with my person for 3 or 4 hours? Let me go run some errands, go to the grocery store, get my hair cut. And they are constantly running. They do not have that sense of relief, that sense of break, because they are constantly worrying. They're afraid they're a burden to their person with their person that's with their friend or their caregiver that's with the person with dementia. And they don't get that sense of relief. They have to constantly be on a time clock and going from one thing to the next, and they don't get a chance to breathe. And that reactive is doing them no good. They are not getting the respite. They are not getting the break that they need and that they deserve as a caregiver. Proactive is the opposite. It's a scheduled respite, is something that they can look forward to. It's either once a month, once a week, twice a month, whatever it is. They have scheduled it with their people. They have scheduled it so that they have something to look forward to. They have the light at the end of the tunnel. And I've heard many caregivers say, I need to make it till Wednesday. If I can make it till Wednesday, I can get a break. I can have some peace for a little bit. I don't have to worry about my person. And giving them that sense of peace and letting them know that their person is cared for and that their person is taken care of and they don't have to worry, gives that caregiver just an immediate sense of peace, that just they don't have to worry, that they're at peace with it. It also lets them recharge their batteries, because when I was getting my master's in counseling, we always had this analogy, when you're on an airplane and the oxygen masks drop, who are you supposed to put it on first? You're supposed to put it on yourself. Because if you pass out, then you're no good to anyone else. Same thing, I tell my caregivers that all the time, and they laugh, but it's the truth. They have to take care of themselves just as much as they have to take care of their person with dementia. They get this diagnosis that your person has Alzheimer's, and they're like, their world is turned upside down. But all of their devotion, all of their mindset, everything that now goes into taking care of that person and taking care of family things, whether it be the yard, the house, the bills, they take on everything else. So then what happens to that caregiver? They get put on the back burner. They forget to eat. They forget to go to the doctor. They forget to do things. They don't ever get a break. And so 40% of those caregivers will die before their person with dementia because they're not taking care of themselves. And that is a very harsh thing, and I have told quite a few caregivers that, and their eyes get this big. And I said, it's the truth, because you are more at risk of stress, you're more at risk of a heart attack or a stroke, because you are not taking care of yourself. You are just as important as your person with dementia. And it's hard for them to understand that, because then they feel guilty. They feel like they're being a burden to someone because they're asking them to take care of their person when they've been married for 50 years, and that's their job. They're supposed to do that. And that's not the case. This caregiving journey for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia is is not a one-person journey. It is a village. You have to have a village because that person's going to get burnt out. They're going to start resenting their person with dementia. They're going to start being angry and snapping and being hateful, and we don't want that. We want them to have that respite and that ability to have that break and to be that person's loved one, whether that be a spouse or a child. Because there are a lot of kids out there that are now taking care of their parents. They're called the sandwich generation. So they're still taking care of their kids, whether they be in middle school or high school, and then now they're taking care of their parents. And they're still working full-time. We have quite a few people that we interact with that are kids that are taking care of their parents because their spouses either passed away or they don't have a spouse anymore. And so now it's the kids' responsibility to take care of their parents. And it is a hard thing to take care of your kids, take care of your parents, but also still have a life and go to work and have a social life and do all these things. So respite is something that is very, very important for all of our caregivers because they need to have that scheduled break. So with respite, there's the two types of respite, and then there's different kinds of respite. You have a lot of people that will take part in the caregiver professional sitters that come into a person's house to be with that person, interact with them, take them to lunch, take them to doctor's offices, things of that nature. And those can range from $15 to $30 to $40 an hour for a minimum of 2 to 4 hours. So that's at and let's just say $30 an hour for 4 hours, that's $120 a day. Most people that are in this disease, they're on a fixed income. They can't afford $120 a day multiple times a week so they can get a break. You have the long-term care facilities that have respite for anywhere from 3 to 5 to some 7 days, and they incur that person. They come and stay at the facility. A lot of times people are doing that because they are going out of town or they are going to do a conference or something of that nature so that they know their person is taken care of, but they would not be able to go to a wedding or a vacation or something like that with their person. Their person is no longer able to travel. So they partake in that respite at the long-term care facilities, but that could be anywhere from $200 to $400 a day. And most people can't afford that. And then you have the adult day center aspect, which obviously I am most passionate about. The adult day center gets anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day. They're able to come and be in a facility. They're coming in and being a part of a group, being a part of something again. And they have activities, they do exercise, they're there to engage with other people that are like-minded like them, and it gives them that sense of independence and whatnot. Those can range anywhere from $60 to $75 to $85 a day. That's much more economical for someone, even if they did it once a week. $75 a day, that's a couple $100 or two. Math is not my subject. That's a little over $200 a month. That's much more doable than it is to do private sitters in your home. So our adult day center that we have has been in existence for a little over a year. Our anniversary was March the 14th. That's when we got our official license through the state. And we started with one person on March 14th. And by the end of the year, we had 17 people come into our day center once a week. And that is with just word of mouth, because our area is in such a dire need for these services. We are very unique in the fact that we are the only dementia-specific adult day center in our area. So we only take people with dementia, with Alzheimer's, or with some type of cognitive decline. And the reason that is because there are other day centers out there, but they accept Medicaid. And so when you accept Medicaid, you take everybody that may have a disability of some sort. And when that happens, that can kind of change the dynamics of the day center. And we truly wanted ours to stay Alzheimer's, dementia, cognitive decline, because they are a very unique group of people. And that is what we are passionate about. That is something that we are wanting for our community, because it's something that's needed. I mean, we're going to serve over 12,000 people in this year alone, and multitudes of those people will be coming to our day center. I mean, currently we have 23 people, and that number is fixing to go up, and we're started out at 1 day a week, and now we're up to 3 days a week, which will probably be 5 days a week by the end of the year, because the need is so great. So last year, we actually provided over 1,700 hours of respite to our caregivers. And that's just, most people have one caregiver, but we have multiple people that have 2 to 3 to 4 caregivers. So if you think about it, you have your person coming 1 day a week for 6 hours, and they have 3 caregivers, that's really 18 hours of respite, because they don't have to worry about their person during that time. And it's pretty profound. We have seen the light come back in the eyes of our caregivers. They come and they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed, and then they come back and they're a little brighter. They have some color in their cheeks when they come pick up their person. We had a lady on Friday. She looked worse for wear. She brought in her husband, and I was like, "Are you okay?" She said, "No." I was like, "All right." So she brought her husband. He spent the date with us. She comes back at 3 o'clock to pick him up, and I said, "Are you better?" She said, "I'm getting there." I was like, "Okay." But she got that 6 hours of uninterrupted peace, where she didn't have to worry about her husband walking out of the house or going to do something or start the stove, or she just didn't have to be on the entire day. And her body had the time to relax, and her body had the time to just be present and do whatever she wanted to do. I had a lady yesterday that her husband had kept her up for 2 nights. She went home and slept for 3 hours. She got to have that uninterrupted rest because her body needed it, because her husband, it just could not sleep the last 2 nights. And if you've never been a caregiver to someone, or never been impacted by someone with Alzheimer's and dementia, it's exhausting. You don't know what the next hour is going to hold. They could be having hallucinations or delusions, or they could be trying to get out of the house when you're trying to keep them in and keep them safe, and they don't understand, because they don't remember that that house is their house. They think their house is their childhood home, and this house is not, and they're trying to get out because they want to go home. And in their brain, that is totally understandable, because they want to be home, they want to be safe, and they don't remember that this is their home. So these caregivers they're tired. They are overwhelmed and overworked, and 11 million unpaid caregivers are doing this job currently in the United States. And that is astronomical. And most of those people, or a lot of those people, are still working, at least part-time, maybe full-time. And they're doing this unpaid job 24/7 to take care of their person, because they feel like they should and they need to. And we are always going to take care of our people. But there comes a time when you need to ask for help, and it's okay to ask for help. And there are plenty of people, plenty of places that it's okay to ask for help from. We just have to get over the pride thing and ask for help, because we are all very prideful. We don't want to ask for help, but there comes a time when it's okay to ask for help. So these are some of our pictures. Those 2 in the middle are a candle pouring event that we did with Clean Slate Botanicals. And our caregivers came. It was about 8 of our caregivers that they dropped their person off at the day center, and they went and did candle pouring, and they had the best time, because they got to be around other caregivers and just just be present, not have to worry about anything. They were swapping ideas and stories and whatnot and laughing. And just for that hour and a half, 2 hours, they were just having a good time and just being present. And that top one, I laugh every time I see this picture because it was meant to be a caregiver-only event. And sweet Rosie, the daughter right there, will own up to it. And she said, I didn't listen to the directions very well. She brought her mom to the candle pouring event. But she said her mom had a blast because she got to be interactive and involved and going and doing all these different things. And that lady, she holds a special place in my heart. But she was able to have her mom be a part of it, and it was just very, very special. She now has that memory to hold on to. And then the pictures on the outside are our adult day center. So the one on the left, we were gifted a Wii for Christmas. Do y'all remember the Wii Nintendo system? It was a kind of an interactive video game. And we've been bowling and playing tennis. And half the time they laugh at us because when we're doing it, because they're like, no, I don't want to get up and do it. But they'll laugh and make fun of us when we get mad, when we lose. But that lady right there was bowling, and she was having the best time. She's generally just kind of there, but when she got up and did this, just the very simple activity, she was smiling and laughing because she actually knocked all the pins down. So she got her strike. She was very excited about that. And then the one on the other side, we always do some type of exercise, whether it be chair aerobics or having someone come in and do exercise. But that one right there, we decided to have a snowball fight. And it was actually the week before the ice storm that we all had. But they had the best time because they got to just be present and throw snowballs at each other, at the staff. They were laughing at us because we were crawling around on the floor picking up all of the snowballs. But they truly were just gleeful and didn't have to worry about anything, and they were just being present and having fun. And that is what it's all about. Our goal at our Adult Day Center is for them to get some type of joy out of it, whether it be the entire day or a small moment. That is our purpose in life and in our purpose in our Adult Day Center, for them just to have fun, for them to have some sort of engagement and socialization, because even as a person ages, we still need to socialize. More so with someone with dementia because their brain is actively shrinking, but socialization can help delay that shrinking some. We have to socialize. We have to be around other people because if we withdraw, then their dementia and their Alzheimer's will actually progress quicker. So the more they socialize, the more they engage, the more they get out, it's better for their brain. So these are just some, I did a survey on my caregivers not too long ago, and I just wanted to hear their feedback from being at the day center, them having their breaks. And these were just very profound. That first one, it has given me the break that I not only need, but also must have at this point. I get this lovely day of peace all to myself, and I don't feel guilty for it. I think that speaks in and of itself because that caregiver has finally learned to let go a little bit because it truly is just her and her husband. Her kids, their kids all three live away, and so they're not here anymore. So it is truly her, and then she brings her husband to us once a week, and she's able to get that break. The consistency has been most helpful, knowing my loved one is being cared for in a loving way, and I get that scheduled break every week. And then I've been able to relax and do some things for me without being worried about my loved one being home alone. It has given me the ability to let go a little bit. So since bringing her sister to our Adult Day Center, she has been able to let go of that control a little bit. It has been able to kind of relax and not be so on it all the time. And all of our caregivers know and understand that our Adult Day Center is for a particular moment in time. Now that moment in time can be 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Our inaugural person has been there for over a year. We don't know how long it lasts. I had someone there for 2 months and then he got discharged from us. So all we can do is give those caregivers the respite that they need, give their person the enjoyment and the engagement that they need, and then they're better able and better prepared to handle that next step because they have been able to rest and do those things that they needed to do. So the Adult Day Center is not the only thing that we provide. We actually provide 15 caregiver support groups in our area all over Shreveport-Bossier. We do counseling for caregivers and with our person, even with the person with dementia. You know, they're struggling just as much as those caregivers, and we're able to work with them either jointly with the caregiver or individually and have them, we write down tips and tricks and things for them to still be independent and still be a working person and feel like they're a member of society as well. We do lots of education individually or in conference styles. So we have an annual conference that we do, and then we just started an educational podcast. So it's called Light the Way, and that's been very informative. What we found out is that our caregivers couldn't come to our office anymore for education, so now we're sending the education out to them, and we're able to reach more people through that podcast. We have lots of resources for the caregiving journey, whether that be, you know, elder care attorneys, hospice, home health sitters, anything that they need during this journey, we have it at our office. They don't have to go research and find it. And then we also do free confidential memory screening. So if someone is just interested in checking their memory, or if they are seeing some concerns or have a spouse or a loved one that they're concerned about, they can come to our office. It's completely free. It's confidential. It's not a diagnosis. First and foremost, not a diagnosis, but it's a good place to start when you don't know where to start, and it's a little easier to come to us than going to the doctor and saying, hey, and I'm having memory issues. They come to us, we do the memory screening, then we give them a result sheet, and that opens the communication with their doctor. It makes it a little less burdensome and a little less overwhelming. So, and I just wanted to put in our mission and our vision, because our vision truly is to create a community where no one affected by this Alzheimer's or dementia makes the journey alone, because it's a very lonesome journey. They understand that there's people out there that are going through it, but until they actually meet those people, they truly feel alone. And we don't want them to feel alone. We want them to have a person to call and have a person to talk to and be a physical place that they can come and just sit down and talk to someone and vent or cry or just be mad at the world for a little bit. That's what we're able to do for them. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We are funded through grants, general donations, and fundraisers. So some of our community-based grants are Community Foundation, Powers, Frank's Foundation, Beard Foundation. All of that money that is then raised stays here locally in our community. It stays in Region 7. So every single dime stays right here. We're able to help our community with this terrible disease. And then that's just my contact information. Our office is at 851, and then our day sitter is actually located in the Highland Center. When we started this process, we originally tried to do it in our office at 851, but the fire marshal said we had too many walls and not enough doors. So we ended up calling Madison Poche at the Highland Center, and she luckily has a large conference room that we use. We have an office, we put everything in, take it back out, and it has been an amazing, amazing partnership with Madison and the Highland Center. All right, thank y'all.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yes. So, fantastic job. When I read your content, it appears that everything, and I know some of this says it's kind of like a trial period. Is everything truly free for the people using your service? I just don't see how you're not overrun with people like at capacity.
So we had a caregiver joke that we're the best kept secret in Shreveport-Bossier.
Yeah.
But everything truly is free, from our counseling to the memory screenings to our adult day center. And It's a lot of work. I mean, our day center on average costs $75 a day, but we're able to provide it for free.
And is it need-based on people's resources, or if people of any income bracket would be eligible?
People of any income bracket.
Thank you. That was a very helpful presentation. As a member of the sandwich generation, I have two questions. One is on the statistics. You said 14%. Is that 14% of the population of Caddo that has dementia? Like, can you clarify that?
Yeah, 14% of the population.
So that would be like 31,000 people? I mean...
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, and so I guess that brings me to my next question. So my mom has been the primary caregiver for my dad with dementia. They're in their mid to late 80s, and but recently my mom started showing signs of dementia, and I'm just curious because you talk about primary caregivers being the spouse. Like, what do you do? Does your organization help when that spouse is then having dementia issues, or what would you recommend? Like,
so a lot of times that is common for caregivers to start showing quote unquote signs of dementia. And a lot of times it's because they are so stressed out and overwhelmed with everything that's going on. That's not always the case, but that depression is also a big key in that as well. Depression can mimic some cognitive decline, and working with doctors and, you know, maybe there's medication or counseling or things like that that can help improve those symptoms, because there are a lot of medical reasons for cognitive issues.
Okay, thank you very much.
I've got two. Do y'all use two questions, and they're really on opposite ends of the spectrum, and you may think I'm probably a candidate. But do you use musical therapy? Because I'm familiar with that, and it seems to be effective. And the other one, on the diagnosis of the 12 varieties of Alzheimer's, do you do it with cognitive tests? Do you do MRIs, or, you know, how do you make a diagnosis? And
so we do use music therapy. We've had music therapists come in, we've had bands come in, singers, because music is very profound to anyone that has Alzheimer's or another type of dementia. Music is truly one of the last things that leaves their brain. And you can sing songs from their childhood, old hymns and things, and they can be at, for lack of a better term, on death's door. And then you sing those songs, and they will actually start singing those songs because that is so deeply ingrained into their brain. And then, so diagnosis, from what my research and from working with Dr. Overdike, diagnosis of Alzheimer's is a rule-out diagnosis. So they do lab work, they do imaging, they look at everything else before they diagnose for Alzheimer's. And they go through all of these things. They do the memory screenings, they do all of that. They do imaging about 6 months apart. And then now that they have it, there's a blood test called p-tau217. And so they go through the rule-out phase, and then they do that blood test to confirm their suspicions.
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Technical question. Is there anything that could be related to environmental issues as far as regions of the United States where there's a higher propensity for Alzheimer dementia versus other areas? Is there anything that could be affecting other than biology?
Yes, there is research to state that, you know, environments can definitely play a role. Megan Harris, she's a neurologist in town, said that there is an increase in, I want to say, Lewy body dementia up near like Spring Hill in southern Arkansas. There's a paper plant up there, so it could be environment, toxins, things like that. And an environment for yourself as well, with food, with medicines, with diagnoses of high blood pressure, blood sugar. You know, they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. If you have rampant, uncontrolled blood sugar, insulin levels, then that can put you at an increased risk of developing Alzheimer's.
So I know in the dental world, we spend a lot of time focusing on P. gingivalis, which is the main bacteria we take care of during dental hygiene visits. And P. gingivalis has been linked since at least 2022 in the American Journal of Geriatric Medicine as being related to the, I guess, the progression of amyloid plaques forming and other risk factors that are associated with Alzheimer's dementia and other forms of dementia. What preventive measures, I guess, are the most effective in your eyes, or maybe Dr. Overdyke, either one, to help those folks who may be high risk for it from genetic or environmental factors prevent that from developing into full-blown Alzheimer's dementia?
So just like preventative aspects?
Sure.
There's no true way to prevent it, but going to the doctor, watching what you're eating. You know, we've all heard, if you have a heart-healthy diet, exercise, but it truly is affecting your brain. So if you have good heart health, then you've got good brain health most of the time. And going to the dentist every 6 months, flossing your teeth can help reduce your risk because, like you said, that plaque, they're finding the bacteria that's in your teeth is going to your heart and to your brain. So if you don't floss your teeth, start flossing your teeth every day. It can help reduce your risk for developing Alzheimer's. But doing those things, watching what you're eating, making sure it's whole foods, not processed, less preservatives. I think it was like 75 years ago, we had like 11 preservatives in our food. Now we have over 2,000. There's got to be a correlation between that and what we're eating because we are in a community that we want immediate, we want it right now, and we won't take the time to cook something. So eating those whole foods and going to the doctor and having your blood pressure, your blood sugar, cholesterol check, things like that to keep them in check are really easy ways to reduce your risk.
And to add to that question, have you found, let's just say 3 correlating factors that are, obviously Caddo Parish and Bossier Parish are environmentally not that different to one another, but there's a pretty large deviation between the percentage of individuals above the age of 65 with dementia or Alzheimer's dementia and those in Caddo Parish. So is there any other main correlating factor that's been studied well and proven to, I guess, show maybe causality or correlation between developing Alzheimer's dementia and not, besides diet and exercise?
That I don't know. I mean, I do know that Caddo Parish has higher population rates than Bossier, so that could have potentially the change in the increase in the numbers versus Caddo versus Bossier, but I don't know that for sure, but I will definitely start researching that and see if there's any correlation and causation because of that.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate what you do.
Thank y'all.
Now for Rotary. I'd like to give you this great little cup. Actually, I'm going to keep the cup. We're giving you the bubble wrap.
Okay, perfect. My daughter will love that.
Thank you very much. That was very interesting. Really great. I will tell you, we do have something that has no preservatives in it, and it's Andy Sheehy's chickens' eggs. Or hens, rather. Right, Andy? It's all organic. All right. So with that, thank you very much, Laura. That was really interesting. I'm sure we could come up with a lot more questions and have you here for another hour. If everybody would get out their tickets, we're going to pull our drawings. And today's money collected was $109, so $54.50. Really, Lawrence? Okay, we're going to say 55 to the foundation, 54 to the winner. And that goes to green ticket number 929. 929. Who has that? All right, John, there you go. All right. And then we have Rose Niece Flowers goes to brown ticket 051. 051. All right, Robert. Nice. We've got a couple people that hadn't won in a while. John, this is why you show up. You win. And then Andy's hens have come up with 5 packs of half a dozen eggs. So the first one goes to green ticket 93. Oh, no, that's too close. 930. Is that you too, John? All right. Lawrence, you got to spread these out, man. All right. The next dozen goes to brown ticket 037. 037. Who's got brown ticket? All right, Margaret, there you go. And then next half dozen goes to green ticket 978. 978, there you go. And how many are we giving out now? 3? 3, okay. For the fourth set, goes to brown ticket 087. 087. Where, Mark, all right. And then last half dozen goes to green ticket 994. 994. Just got that. All right, there you go, Jason. And then we have a gift, Joe Littlejohn gave a gift of Meadows Museum coffee mug. Is that correct, Joe? And that goes to green ticket 905. 905. Who has that? All right, there you go, Rich. All right, and next week we're going to have Chris Cantrell talking about Brav One Security Group. And as a reminder, this Thursday, again from 1:30 to 3 at the Food Bank Northwest Louisiana, we're going to be packing boxes. So if you can make it there, and also another reminder, and it's on your tables, about April 8th, a Rotary-only event to tour the Ronald McDonald House at 1:30 on the 8th. So thank you very much. With that, if you would, yes? Can everybody hear Charlotta? Probably not. Here, come here, Charlotta.
Y'all are deaf. The Chris Cantrell that's coming next week hasn't sent us his topic exactly, but he's retired FBI, and they have a company here that specializes in security, and he's coming specifically, I think, to talk about cybersecurity. And I think that probably with everything that's going on at Barksdale with the drones, it might be a really interesting presentation. So I encourage you to come back next week.
I'm glad you flew those drones last week, Charlotta, to pump up Chris. We're checking on Charlotta now. She's under investigation. So with that, if everybody would please stand and join me in the 5-way test. Of all the things that we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun? Rotary is adjourned.